How do we know that that chip that they're going to put in, under the pretense of being able to recognize who's had the vaccine or not, which in itself is detrimental, but that chip is now allowing the satellites to pick up where we are, who we're congregating with, where we're moving to, how much money we have, what we're saying, what we're doing. Already, I mean, my son was saying, Dad, we're in New Zealand, and he says something about Dunkin' Donuts. There's no Dunkin' Donuts where we are, we're very remote. I pick up my phone, and my phone was there, his phone was there. I pick up my phone, and I said, where's that link that I sent you? It was a link on something funny. He picks up his phone, and there's an ad for Dunkin' Donuts. How can that Dunkin' Donut ad be there when there's no Dunkin' Donuts in that? There's only one in Auckland, and there's weird things like that happen all the time. Now, you're telling me that the satellite can't pick us up? Okay, what about the RF chip putting out a signal to transmit? Or it's a receiving signal. They've been doing this, orchestrating this all along. It's always under pretense of public safety. For God's sake, people, for you that are out there that are already pro-vaccine, that think that we, the people that refuse to get vaccination, are making you susceptible. If you've had the vaccine, what the hell are you worried about? You've already had the vaccine. Why are you worried about children that aren't vaccinated? Okay, this is all, logic has escaped the population of when they say that pro-vax, pro-vax, pro-vax. It's not about pro-vaccine. It's not about anti-vaccine. It's about common sense. It's about understanding physiology, and it's about understanding what the agenda is. Anybody who has this message, it is your obligation. It is if you love your children, if you love your future progeny, then get this information out. It's not about Brian. It's not about me. It's about none of us. It's about our future. It's our future of the human race. And when people like David Icke that come ahead of their time, instead of ridiculing them and minimizing them, we should be looking at, if we don't agree with everything and we don't believe everything, fine. That's the beautiful part about living on a free planet. Don't agree with them, become inquisitive, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. David Icke is ahead of his time. And there's so many other people like that that are ahead of their time. Listen and decipher. When God gave us all brains, some people, I'm convinced, said, train. What do I need to train for? I don't need to train. It's a brain. We each have one. We were given a brain, so let's start using that brain. Let's use our own eyes, our own ears, and let's become inquisitive and ask the questions why. And Brian, one of the things is that what David Icke said, you said, what are we going to tell our children? I want to change it slightly. I want our progeny to be able to say that my father, my mother, my aunt, my uncle were part of that movement. That part of the movement that allowed us to have a better future. That's what my intention is. It's a little bit different. Not what are we going to tell, but what our kids are going to be saying. Because here's the sad part. Here's the scary part. If we don't do what we need to do, we won't have grandkids to be able to talk like that. When this happened, what was the run on? Was it on money? Was it on food? It was on toilet paper. That's how much full of crap this whole thing is. It was a run on toilet paper. Does that make any sense? I mean, logically, why would you run for toilet paper? Why wouldn't you get food, or wouldn't you get some kind of medicine? But no, they ran on toilet paper. That's the most absurd thing. And I think that is the creator's humor, that it shows how much full of crap this whole pandemic was. So rise, be bold. And the last thing I would like to do is just read to you something, Brian. And I think it touched me deeply, and this is just an example of the feedback that I've gotten. He said, when I see you, I see a man troubled, and troubled for people, for the good in life. I wish the world had 100 million more like you. It speaks of selflessness. You were put on the earth for a different reason. May God Almighty bless you. This world does not want truth or truth facts delivered. I will promote you to the extent of my ability and take the same bullet chosen for you. Go forth boldly always. And there are so many people that have sent messages like this. And this is a message to each one of us to go forth boldly. And I mean, I'll just read you my response, because at that time it took me, I didn't even know what to say. And I actually said, I don't even know what to say. Your generous words have touched me deeply. May I be worthy of those words. Please pray for me that the Creator guides me to do His will, and that He allows my sword to be swift and accurate, with deep gratitude. And I think that all of us have to ask for that guidance, that we do the will of the Creator, because what's being threatened right now is His ultimate creation. And I don't care what faith, belief system that you have, we all came from the same place, and we're going to go all to the same place once our time on this earth is done. And it is our obligation, our fiduciary, our ethical, our moral obligation, the reason we were put here, our obligation to make sure that we protect those who come after us, not just our children, not just our grandchildren, but those who come after us. So I ask each one of you to do whatever you can, whether it's holding that place in your heart, meditating, as Brian had said, setting the intention of love and gratitude and compassion for the planet, and asking source energy, asking the creator to support us in this evolutionary process, and to make sure that whatever you can do, you do. When the character assassination started, then it didn't matter to me, because I just wanted to get my son better. And so the biggest and the baddest, I made a promise. I made a deal. I mean, I cursed at God. I lost faith in the creator, and I finally made a deal with him. And I said, I'll give you my arm, I'll give you my leg, I'll give you whatever. Just give me back my son. And the deal was, if he gave me back my son, I would never stop doing his work. When you realize that from the time that you were born that you're dying, death suddenly loses its the fear component. We're dying from the day we were born, right? I mean, we should be actually sad when people are born because they're coming into this world, and we should be rejoicing when we die because it's time we're going back to the creator, the source of everything. And so if you think about it from that perspective, it's inevitable we're all going to die. Fear, it's not a big deal. I've looked at the sky many times and I've said, today's a good day to die, and I get that sense the creator's looking down at me going, yeah, you wish it was going to be that easy. You still got a lot of work to do. And so I will continue doing whatever work he puts before me. And I hope that I'm worthy of those words that people have used to, like that guy, Tom. I mean, it just really is humbling. Those of you that are on here, you have no idea the level of gratitude that I have for you. You have no idea. Because of you and everyone else like you, our humanity will survive. And this is the reason that when people give me accolades, it's not about me, guys. I don't care about any of those accolades. I care about my kids. And I care about your kids, and I care about all the future kids, because we're talking about the future of the human race. And what they're doing is committing the greatest atrocity, the greatest crime against mankind that has ever been committed. And if we allow them to get away with it, it will be the end of recorded history as we know it. We are talking about a mass extinction level event here that's potentially coming down the pipeline. And it may have been the ice age before, it may have been something else. Well, this is going to be because of the stupidity of the human species. So we have to rise up right now. We have to do it. It's not about our survival. I don't care whether, Brian, you live or I live. I don't care about that. If somebody said that you could end this right now and give your life, I would do it in a flash. And I bet you that the vast majority, if not every one of these doctors on here, would do the same thing so that the world can continue to move forward the way it's supposed to. We have to make this change now. We have to wake up. We have to realize what's happening, because the planet's survival, literally the human species survival, is at stake. So for those of you that don't know what an intention is, the difference between an intention and a prayer is nothing. It's a thought that you're putting out. There's no religious implication here whatsoever. It's what we want to hold in our heart, because remember that love is the antidote to fear. Love is the opposite of fear. But love is not an emotion. Love is a source of creation. People mistake love for being an emotion. So what we want to do is we want to hold that love in our hearts for everybody else, and hope that set that intention that their energy and their vibration evolves to the level that they understand what we already understand. David Hawkins, who's now passed, David Hawkins was an MD PhD who had a map of consciousness, and anything below 200, like things like apathy and fear and greed and anger, below 200, above 200 was good stuff, acceptance, gratitude. Love was at 560. And I believe on the calibration, they measured when one person that's resonating at love negated over 100,000 people that were in fear. So let's hold that place of love in our heart, and gratitude and compassion for those that don't understand. And our intention is that they'd start to understand, that the information starts coming to them, and that source energy, that the creator helps us during this period of evolution to allow us to bring this period of evolution to a quick end, because we know it's difficult, we know it's tough, but that's part and parcel of growth, and growth is necessary for evolution. So just take deep breaths in and out. You can keep your eyes open or close, whatever feels good, and you'll feel it.